there, this is my overall reflection of the vegan diet. So here I'll be discussing and reflecting on what I've learned throughout this assignment and my overall thoughts on veganism. So one of the most prominent things that I've learned through this research is that the vegan diet is less limited than many perceive it to be. I suppose when people initially hear that it includes no dairy products and no meat products at all, people might get a bit frightened or shocked, like thinking, oh, well, what's left to eat? But as I've trialed these recipes, I've learned that there are a lot of vegan equivalents to things, and the meals are actually very nice and very creative. So for example, the zucchini pasta, that was a pasta that was creamy, it was rich, and it didn't include any cream or milk or any products like that. And it was really interesting to experiment with zucchini as the actual pasta base. And while you don't have to have a vegan dish to use that, of course, to substitute the pasta, veganism I believe, is very creative in that many of the dishes use equivalents for things in order to up the nutritional value and to substitute for the lack of flavour, maybe, that is involved in eradicating meat and dairy. So trialing things like that it's something that I probably would not have done if I hadn't been researching vegan recipes. So it's been a good experience there. Also trialing the Thai dish, like the green curry, as well as the other dishes, the banquet of the noodles, tofu, and the Thai salad. It's been interesting to really evaluate these against what I already believe Thai food to be like. I've been raised on a lot of Thai food because my dad really has a passion for cooking Thai. So it's been interesting to reflect on the difference between vegan and the traditional. For example, the vegan Thai curry, which omitted the chicken that I would normally have in it, I actually really loved it. I found that I was able to appreciate the delicate flavours of the herbs and spices more. And it was just an overall great dish, and I didn't miss the chicken. Like, there wasn't any noticeable deficiencies in the meal or the taste or anything. So that was good. I think from a health perspective, it's been interesting to research because a lot of the things that come up initially are all of the deficiencies related to veganism. And I learned that yes, there is actually truth to what a lot of people are concerned about, particularly vitamin B1-2, because the research did reveal that because there is none of that evident in any plant-based sources, it is necessary to supplement it. But it was also interesting to look at the protein issue because the result was actually quite different to what I initially perceived, and because it's highly resonant that vegans don't get enough protein. You know, taking away meat and dairy takes away a lot of protein, so there are going to be deficiencies there. But I actually realised how other foods have protein in as well. It's not always just the foods that you automatically think of when you think of protein. So it was interesting to learn about how much was in these different foods, and the fact that this is actually possibly just a myth, that it has been proven by a lot of different sources that vegans aren't deficient on protein. However, I found that when looking for the health benefits, there are some there. For example, the increased fibre, magnesium, and the lack of saturated fat. So there are some positives there, but I felt that the positives didn't completely outweigh the positives of the Australian Guide to Healthy Eating. I find that it's a lot more well-rounded because there's no real research to suggest that either are better than each other, apart from the issues with vitamin B1-2, which can be supplemented. So there is no reason why vegans can't actually get that nutrient. It just cannot be sourced through the foods that they eat. It has to be sourced through the supplement. So I feel that the two diets are even in terms of nutritional value because they do have their own positives. Like, I feel that the vegan diet, once you take the supplements that are necessary, it can be a healthy and sustainable way of eating. However, the Australian Guide to Healthy Eating can be seen as a lot more practical for families because it includes a lot more foods that are easier to be sourced and cheaper, which was discovered when I was analysing the cost efficiency. For example, the milks and versus almond milk or oat milk, there was quite a distinct difference in price. So that was something to consider, and I think it is important to families in particular. So it can't be forgotten about that economic factor there. It is also, however, I think that it was also interesting to explore the other side of ethics because initially, because many believe that the only way to eat ethically and the only way to actually care, if we care about from an environmental perspective, is to eat the vegan lifestyle. And whilst that is the number one option really for being more environmentally friendly and obviously cutting out on animal cruelty, there are still alternatives that more people can adopt. So what I learned about free range and buying locally especially. So it was interesting to see how you can still eat in a more ethical manner without completely transitioning to veganism. So veganism is an interesting diet because it is highly dependent. It's dependent on a lot more than just food. It's not just about your health perspective. It's a lot to do with the mind and people's beliefs. So I do believe that this diet can be sustained based on the research that I've discovered. There are supplements available. There are a number of nutrients already available in plant-based foods. For example, the protein issue. There are a lot of proteins available in legumes or fruit and veg even. So it can be sustained, I think, and it's particularly because of the mindset linked to it. It's not just a fad diet. It's not just, I'm going to cut out all carbohydrates to get skinnier. It's not like that. So that's what I believe can make it really sustainable, and that's why I think people can thrive off the vegan lifestyle. It was interesting to hear Jamie's point of view as well in the interview. She said this. She said it's to do with the mind. It's empowered her mentally. It's a lot more than just deciding to eat healthier or something like that. So that's why I believe it can be really strong, and I think it is supported by nutrition as well, as long as vegans are educated on what they need to eat, what they might be lacking, and where supplements are necessary. So I do believe that it can be sustainable and it can be as good as the Australian Guide to Healthy Eating. However, I don't necessarily think that there is any evidence to suggest that it is better than the current practices. There's not enough research behind these links to curing illnesses like cancer, arthritis. It's too much speculation at this point in time, and it's just not practical for everybody to transition to. So I think that the Australian Guide to Healthy Eating is currently an effective and practical way of encouraging Australians to eat in a healthier manner. And I believe that there should be more of a focus on ethical eating within a carnivorous diet, about what I researched there. Because I believe that if the two are linked, if it is okay for people to remain carnivores, as long as there is more of a focus on actually eating in an ethical manner and supporting the environment and the local economy.